Hi, I'm Scott Steibel, owner of Farmers Insurance, the Steibel Agency, right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Being in the business of protection, I've always felt a deep connection to those who protect us, our brave soldiers and their families. Their dedication is unmatched, their sacrifices immeasurable. But what about their children? These young souls who carry the legacy and sometimes the weight of that ultimate sacrifice. This is why I've decided to join Spread the Positive Network and proudly support All Things A Soldier's Child podcast and their brand new series, God's Story, Our Journey, where we highlight the incredible children that have experienced a child's biggest fear, losing a parent who gave their all for our freedoms. Every story, every voice, it matters. And as a community, we must ensure these tales of valor and love aren't just heard, but they're remembered and celebrated. When you've been part of a community you love for as long as I have, you realize there's more to it than just business. It's about connections, about building trust, about shared values. The mission of Spread the Positive is to bring the light to what is going right, and the work being done by a soldier's child is one of the best examples I personally have ever come across. I invite you to join us on this journey. Listen, share, and let's together ensure that the voices of our soldiers' children echo loud and clear, for in their stories lies the strength of a nation.
Good day, America. Welcome to All Things A Soldier's Child. Deep talk into the human experience of the highs, lows, and the plateaus of life in search of finding passion and purpose for a life worth celebrating. Welcome to the show. Well, welcome everyone. This is Daryl Mackin, your host of All Things A Soldier's Child. We are kicking off a 4-podcast series. We have finished our journey camp, and we have 4 sessions ahead of us designed specifically for our ASC kids. In fact, we have a lot of ASC kids that will be joining us over the next few weeks, and we have a special link going out to them as well. So hello to all of our ASC families and kids. Welcome. So this is what we're doing. So I just want to give you a little more backdrop. We had 2 journey camps this year, and for those of you that don't know what journey camp is, it is a week-long camp where we have children of our fallen come for a week and just learn a whole lot about themselves, learn about, they bunk up with kids that have experienced the same losses they have. They do a lot of adventure. This is what we say. Let's see, finding adventure, building lifelong relationships, and finding healing to live out a courageous life, finding hope and healing to live out a courageous life. So that's what we aim our camps for. We had 50 kids in Texas, and then we had 125 in Kentucky at Barefoot Republic. We were at Camp Eagle in Texas. So great stuff. So let me tell you the reason why we're really gearing these next 4 podcasts, and we may go further than that depending upon how this shapes out. So we wanted to start this mentor program with our PS23 kids. So these are ASC kids that have grown up and now are 18 years of age and older, and they have elected to come back, be trained, and work with the younger kids at camp. So we were going to have them mentor the kids after, and there was just too many pitfalls for that to happen. So so what we decided to do was this series, because what we want to be able to do is talk about subjects that are relevant for our ASC kids, for any kid for that matter. And I really think the things we talk about are going to resonate with adults and children of all ages, and it's going to work for all people. But I'm going to come right out. This is it's geared towards our children that have attended our camps recently, journey camps, and any camp that we conduct. And we do about 20 camps a year. So here are the 4 titles. So episode 1, which is the one we're doing today, is How to Live Out My Faith After Journey Camp, which is a question I hear often, and it's a challenge the kids face once they leave camp. Episode number 2 is, Am I a chameleon? and ask the question, who am I? So that's a good one. Then Then number 3, controversial, dating versus courting. What is the difference between the two? Okay. I can't wait to get in that one. Untap that bad boy. All right. So number 4 is, how do I stand firm with love in a countercultural world? So that's kind of just talking about, person of faith. How do you navigate with everything that's going on in our world, country, and maybe communities, things like that? How to stand firm in your faith. So those are the first 4 that we're going to test the waters with, if you would. We'll have a number of guests for each show. Speaking of which, I have a very popular friend, advisory board member, possibly a future board member if I could twist his arm hard enough. But this is a gentleman that has been a part of A Soldier's Child for a good, probably the last 8 years. 7, 8 years. And he was our camp director when we were conducting our camps at Deer Run in Thompson Station, Tennessee. His name is none other than Fred Reyes. Yes, the crowds are cheering.
Thank you, Daryl. Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Yes. How are you, Fred Reyes?
It's a beautiful afternoon in Middle Tennessee.
Yes, it is.
Doing well.
Isn't it, though?
Doing well.
Yeah. So, Fred, we're going to jump right into this. You are the expert matter, or what? How they say that?
Does it matter?
No, matter expert.
Oh, okay.
Matter expert. I think that's how they say. You're the expert that matters.
Okay.
That too.
One.
All right.
Gotcha.
Good. So, Fred, tell our listening audience a little bit about yourself and how you got into camps. How about that?
I've been involved in camp ministry for a long time. God's been really good to me through camping. I went to camp when I was a youngster, started going about 12 years old to organize middle school, high school camp, and did that for about 6 years. And I learned a ton about life from those camp experiences. My older brothers were in charge, they were in leadership, and so I got to learn under them. And as I grew, I was able to work into leadership roles as well. And that was just a great part of my life. Such a huge foundational part of my life.
Yeah. So we met you at Deer Run. We went to camp, I think it was 4 years there, and then we followed you. See, the lasting impression you leave, Fred.
It was a beautiful relationship. It is a beautiful relationship.
It is. And we followed you up to Kentucky at Barefoot. We love Barefoot. We're going to stay there. I guess what are you doing now? Let's get that. What are you doing right now? Because you've stayed in ministry. When we talk about ministry, for those of you that wonder what he's talking about ministry, so that's where you just minister to people and you do it from a platform where God speaks through you. That's ministry. Is that good?
That's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, so right now, not necessarily in a camp ministry per se, although the ministry organization that I work for does conduct camps. Justice and Mercy International is a mission organization that works with villagers and missionaries and pastors in Brazil, orphans and transitional living kids in Moldova, and refugees and church planters in Italy. And so it's a great ministry that we do camps there. We'll go and do VBS style camps for a few days or a few hours, depending on the location. So I've been able to really see God working in that realm currently. But when you guys came over to Deer Run, that was a godsend. It was a good thing for you, for ASC, but it was a great thing for Deer Run as well, and then now on to Barefoot. But I think it's been really cool to see how ASC has grown through the years.
And you yourself, when you think about, I don't know what you did before we came, as far as if you had any camps, ministries that came in that were specific for orphan children. I mean, not many people think of our kids, ASC kids, children of our fallen as orphan, but the fact is they lose a parent. It's a fact.
We had not done that. We had a mission camp program going on, but I think God just really used our goals to mesh with your goals and come together.
It was good.
To provide a really amazing experience for your ASC kids.
So here's the question, Mr. Expert. Okay. So just a little backdrop on this. So I did talk with Fred prior. I had never attended a camp when I was a child. In fact, my first camp that I ever attended was the first camp I conducted for a soldier's child in 2010, and I was about 49, 48 years old. So I'm 61 now. I just turned 61. Wow. Yeah, old man. But here's the so you told me, so you just told us that you started going, were you 13?
12, 13.
12, 13. You loved camp. Your brothers led some of those camps, you told me earlier. And then you just stayed with it. And it was something it's been a part of your life, the whole camp experience, correct?
In one way or another, it's been a part, whether I was serving as a youth minister and would take kids to camp.
Yeah.
I worked camp for Lifeway, for Centrifuge for several years. So camp's been close to my heart for a long time. There was a little while in there where I was just doing church ministry and not doing camp as much, but for the most part, I've been involved with it a lot over my life.
All right, so here's the big question. All right, so we asked the question, how to live my faith after journey camp, so after camp. And and amazing things happen for children at camp. Here's the question. Why are summer camps so memorable in a child's life and all the way into adulthood where they remember that experience? What is it that's so special about summer camps for children?
Daryl, there's so many things that happen in a week or 3 days of a camp. But what you have when you pare it down is you have an opportunity for a child, a teenager, a young person to be seen for who they are.
I like it.
You remove distractions. Most camps, for the most part, don't have use of electricity as far as phones, electrical, iPads, those kind of things. They take
Off the
those
grid.
away.
Yeah.
Get off the grid. Remove all the chaos and distractions of everyday life. And the camper's able to get away and really be seen and see others for who they are. And then you're also able to go before the Lord. And I think God takes us to a point where he can have clear communication with us without all the distractions. And we can hear directly from him.
And then, so the piece about why, like an adult, someone in their 50s, why is it so memorable? Why they look back and those were some of the fondest memories?
Well, if you look at for an adult to go back and think, wow, I remember when I was in a bunk next to a friend of mine that I made, lifelong friend. I mean, I remember I was in a youth choir. I sang, surprisingly, but I was in a youth choir and there's a bunch of other guys, and I know it's crazy, but I still
give me a line.
No, not right now. That'll cost extra. But there's guys I still know that
Fred's a chicken, everybody. We got nothing out of them here.
They're in that choir, and we played softball, and you played volleyball, and flag football. All these things these memories you make over the years, and again, you're having fun, good, clean fun, having a great time, just enjoying life. Right. And I think God uses all those things to speak to us.
Yeah.
They're bricks in a wall, a foundation that He makes to speak to us.
Yeah. I like it. I think, I'm hearing you saying that it's a time that your heart is touched, that possibly, you're a part of. I know at our camps, man, kids are touching other kids' hearts and making a difference in their lives. I mean, I saw it last camp. Some of the most amazing things happened at our last journey camp. And I'm just so proud. Of my campers, the way they just love on one another and include. We have this thing, we're all inclusive. There's no cliques here. And it's taken a few years for that to break that. I mean, because that's a part of a teenager's, a child's, an adolescent's life, cliques. You build your little buddy system. And we do everything we can to try to break through that. So here's the question I have now, the next one. In regards to a camp where a young teen, boy, girl, comes to faith in God's plan. So maybe for the first time in their life, they believe upon Jesus, who he is to mankind, and they have a life-changing experience. They get baptized. Maybe they get baptized, and then they go home. So here's the question. What are some of the common challenges they face going home with a new heart? There's a lot there.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. But immediately what you know is mom and dad.
Yeah, or in that case, mom. Most
your
cases.
Parent, mom, your guardian, whoever you have there, and most of your siblings did not go to camp with you.
Yeah.
Your best friends, the neighbors that you hang out with did not go to camp with you.
Yeah, the ones who just experienced what you did, you left them.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's one of the beautiful things of Journey Camp is you bring your friends that you get to see every year at camp.
Yeah, right.
But then you go back home.
Yeah.
and you're in a separate place. So you're really on your own. You're by yourself, and you go back to the life, the environment that you had. Any problem you had when you went to camp is still there.
Yeah.
It's not gone. It's not magically gone because of the high you received, the encounters you had with God. All those good things still happen, but the problems, the issues you face are not gone.
Right.
So you have to go back, and that's one of the big challenges that you have is how do I get back and get to my everyday life and am able to survive in this new relationship that I have with God, my new commitment that I've made to God. And there's things we're going to help you with and talk to you about that more, but it's what are the tools that I can use to go now.
That's my follow-up question
Yeah.
to you, because you hit it on the nail right there. So the follow-up question to that is, what are some of the suggestions you would make, Fred, to a camper, a journey camper? And you know journey campers.
Sure.
I mean, they all love and know you. Many of them do. For the years that you were our camp director, what would you tell the journey camper, and follow up with suggestions you could give them, and then a follow up. This is the key word right here, for accountability on to stay on track. I mean, how does a 12-year-old initiate that in their lives? I mean, is it possible for them to do it?
It's not impossible, but it's a challenge.
It's a
definite challenge because you're asking a 12-year-old, 16-year-old, 18-year-old
Right.
to go back to their home and have a very serious heart-to-heart talk with their parent,
Yeah,
with
siblings,
their guardian, and say, this is what happened. And sometimes they may not be at a point where they can articulate that.
Okay, we got to stop right there, because that is so important, because I don't think that really takes place. I honestly don't think. I mean, I may be wrong, and we're going to have a couple kids on. Do you guys go back? Do kids go back and tell their parent, their siblings, their friends, this is what happened to me? And then, are they afraid to do that? Are there reasons why they don't do that? And which I believe there probably is.
You also get the normal answer that a teenager, young person may say. The parent may say, well, how was journey camp?
Oh, it was good.
Great.
It was great.
It's fine. What's for dinner? What's next?
Yeah, which ain't bad. I mean, I'm glad it's better than saying, that sucked, Mom. But if we don't want them saying that.
There's a way that we can encourage these campers going back home to take a few minutes, turn the computer off, turn the TV off, sit down, maybe at a meal, and just try and just three things or more, but at least three that stood out to them that week and help them have a great experience. What were those things? If they can help them and share that with the siblings and a parent, man.
Yeah, and that's such a good point, Fred, is because I really truly believe that they had some convictions in their hearts and minds, that they know they did. They said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going to be hanging out with these guys anymore. I'm going to start doing this. I mean, they had those convictions. I know they did. And so that would be my question to them is, where are those convictions now? Where are those thoughts that you had, those impressions, the inspiration that you had at camp? Where is it now for you? And if it is on the sideline, how do you get it back? And that's kind of some of the stuff we want to talk about with kids. We really do. And that's what we're going to do today. In fact, we have
one more thing.
Yes, please.
You may also want to provide some kind of, I wouldn't say curriculum, a pamphlet, bullet points for the parent, the guardian. Your campers have been at Journey Camp all week. They're coming back with these things, right?
That's another podcast.
There you go.
Okay, I'm writing it down. I'm writing it, everybody.
We prepare them for what they're about to experience because,
that's good.
They sent this camper off, maybe a little wild, maybe a little, excited.
That's a good one.
And they come back with all these great things if they can facilitate a conversation and them get ready to receive it. And you talk about accountability. It's great if the parent can help them be accountable, but there's a way to do that as well. You don't want to hold it over their head, but you do want to invite them to have that relationship grow between the parent and the camper so that they can hold them accountable. And the camper has to give them permission to do that as well.
Yeah. So understanding what happened at camp and how to encourage a child moving forward. Podcast number 5, everybody. We just came up with it. That's beautiful. Trent's smiling over there. Trent is our editor, director, chief producer, of All Things a Soldier's Child. He also runs what do we call it, Trent? Spread the positive, which is good. Spreading the positive. That's what we do here.
Okay.
Spread the positive. So that's Trent. Trent, say hello. Hey, he says, hey, everybody. He's not on mic. All right. All right. So we have a camper. I believe Jeremiah is, I think he's 11 or 12. So we have Jeremiah on the line. We're going to bring him on and we're going to ask him a couple questions and have him join in. Jeremiah, can you hear me, buddy?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, buddy, what are you doing?
Nothing much, just visiting my family.
You're doing what?
Visiting my family.
Okay, cool. Stay close to the mic so we can hear you, okay?
Okay.
All right, good. So just a quick little backdrop story on you. We met the very first time. It was probably 4 or 5 years ago. You came to our arts camp. Do you remember that?
Yep.
I told your mom you were so small at that time. We wrapped an apron all the way around you, and there was no opening in the apron. It was like, sorry, but it was like a big skirt for you. Do you kind of remember that?
And not really.
I do. You loved that camp. You were very good, actually. And then since then, you came to the Les Culinary Arts, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yes, did you love that one?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
You did. Okay. What was the most memorable thing for you at that camp?
Making the pizza.
Making a pizza. Oh, what about the song? Okay, let's see. We were talking about, Brad and I were talking about what different types of fun, and essentially is, do you remember something? Was it memorable? So here's my question. What was the song I taught you guys and we had to sing in the kitchen?
That's amore.
That's amore. Sing it with me here. When the moon. You got to sing it with me, Jeremiah. I'm not singing alone. So get close to the mic. You ready? Fred, you ready? When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. That's amore. Okay, I won't sing anymore. That's all I got. So, folks, if you want a tape of me singing, you're out of your mind. Anyhow. All right, Jeremiah, have you been listening in on our discussion, Fred and I? Yes?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Did any of what we've been talking about kind of like you were like, oh, that's right. That's what I'm
Yes.
kind of a little bit?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to start with a question for you.
Okay.
I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. Okay. So you had a very impactful week. Was that true?
Yes.
Yes. You had a God moment that week. Did you or did you not?
I did.
You did. And you were moved so much in faith that you decided to be baptized. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That is correct. Now, here is the trick question where I put you on the spot. Do you remember what was said over you just before you went in, you were dunked into the water? When you were baptized, do you remember you had to answer yes to 2 questions? Do you remember what those questions were?
If I kind of.
Come on, baby, you got this.
Oh,
Do you believe?
do I believe in Jesus?
Yeah, and do you believe in Jesus Christ as your King of your life?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then I said, do you promise from this day forward, from now until the day you meet him in his kingdom, that you will follow him? Do you remember that?
Yes.
You said yes. And then I held you on the water a couple, like 3 or 4 seconds extra. Do you remember?
Yeah.
You came up, you were like, blah, 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 blah. No, that didn't happen. Folks, that did not happen. I'm kidding about that part. All right. So I'm going to ask you a question based upon that. How have you or have you not made changes in your life to make Jesus number 1 in your life? So to follow it, so since you've gone home, this is basically what we've been talking about. Since you've gone home, have things been different for you?
Yes. I have
Can you tell
been praying more, like every single night and every time before I eat.
You've been praying.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Have you faced like struggles in like, you're thinking differently, your heart's different towards your own life and towards things around you. Have you faced some struggles in how you deal with your friends or at school or any of that?
No.
How come? Really? You haven't?
School just started.
Oh, school. Oh, that's right. You haven't gone back to school yet. There you go. Well, that one's going to happen. So, and let me ask you that. So is it something you feel like the steps you have taken in your life, is this something you still kind of see as private for yourself, or is it something that you feel like you want to share with people?
It's something I feel like I will be able to share with people.
Okay, that's awesome, bro. I was hoping you would answer that way. That's good. And that's where we want to encourage you too, as well, because we believe that we're supposed to, out of love. This whole thing is motivated by love. Is it not? I mean, you were moved that whole week by the message of love that God has for us, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so
That's great.
that is great.
Amazing.
Jeremiah, I got to have you on my podcast more often, by the way. I might start paying you. No, I'm kidding. I will never pay you. All right. So I have one more question for you. What has been your struggle? So if you had any, what is it that you want? Basically what I'm asking is, have you faced anything is you want to do it, but you're having difficulty in doing it? I heard the key one. You said you're praying more, which is great. That's one of the ones people struggle with.
Not yet. Maybe in the future, but not yet.
Not yet. Okay. All right. So and let's ask you this: what was your most memorable experience? You heard us talking about camps, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with our synopsis on camps as being something that could be a memory for the rest of your life? Did you experiencing anything like that?
Yes.
Tell us what.
Mainly just the lip sync battle. That's the most.
The lip sync battle.
Good.
Oh my gosh. Do you remember those?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. All right. So Jeremiah, can you sing us a song since Fred won't? No.
Or lip sync one.
Or lip sync one. Yeah, that'll go over real well here.
Do you remember what lip sync song you did at camp?
Well, wait, I had a good question. Do you remember what it was?
Let me think.
What was it? Did you guys win?
It was something from High School Musical too.
High School Musical 2. Okay, that could be a couple things.
I don't remember. It's like on the tip of my tongue, but I just don't know.
That's all right. Well, listen, I appreciate you coming on. What's the next camp you coming to? Do you know?
Not yet.
Not
Fishing.
yet. Huh?
I might be going to fishing.
Fishing. Okay. Well, cool. We have a ton of camps coming up in 24. So another 20 camps that you can choose from. I look forward to seeing your face.
Okay.
Will you tell your sister I said hello?
I will.
Did your mom give you the good news? Give you any good news today?
Yep. The good news that instead of getting $500, instead of getting like $500 for a school, we're getting $5,000, the $3,000.
Yeah, you get $1,500. We're gonna scholarship you guys $1,500 each.
That's great.
For school. Is that
Thank
cool?
you. Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome. That's what we're here for. Well, Jeremiah, thank you, buddy. Thanks for joining in. It was good seeing your face, and I'll see you next time at camp. Yes.
Yeah. See you.
All right.
Bye, Jeremiah.
Don't forget to tell your sister I said hello.
Okay. Which one?
Autumn. I think that's the only one I know is Autumn.
Two.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
All right, buddy. Tell your mom I said bye too.
She's right here.
I know. I kind of figured that out, Jeremiah. See you, buddy. All right. Well, that was my man, Jeremiah. Good kid.
Good guy.
Yeah, good guy. He's good. He's really, the whole thing that we talk about kids are buying into, the whole camp thing and ASC for life, ASC family. Him and his sister have been and his mom too, matter of fact, his mom just attended the story study with my wife leading it.
That's great.
And she had a great time. We had, I think, 11 or 12 moms there, and just that's what we want to be able to do. You know,
The whole family.
minister to the whole family, and wow. Speaking of that, I've talked about this in the past. A prepared place. One day, someone listening will be like, "Oh my gosh, this is such a wonderful idea. Soldier's Child, a prepared place. Let me just get them $5 million." Well, listen, you don't know this, but we actually have, there's 7 million people on the planet, 7 plus. We actually have 5 billion, 7 billion people on the planet, 5 billion of which listen to our podcast. We have 5 billion listeners.
That's amazing.
Isn't it amazing?
That's amazing.
Okay. That's not true at all. We have 5 people that listen to our podcast.
That's amazing.
That's amazing. Oh, goodness. I love it. All right. Listen, we got another guy online. We're going to bring him in. He is a PS23 leader. His name is Victor. And I'm I've only known Vic for maybe about 2 years, but man, he's a room changer. He'll come in and change the climate of a room. And it's very special young man. And he attended our first, so he went to DTS, which is discipleship training. This is the training we put our 18 plus PS23 leaders through in order for them to attend Journey Camp. And that was the first thing he came to was DTS, because I had gotten to know him over a year and a half. He's our oldest PS20 thing. I believe he's 30. He'll correct me when I'm wrong. But I think he's 31, so I may be right. But man, he's a man. He's such a great man. He's great with the boys. So Victor, can you hear me? Are you on, Vic?
Yes. Can you hear me?
There he is. What'd you say? You look so good?
I said I look ugly in this, man. The red bull in the background ain't doing it.
Hey, I have to introduce you to my friend Fred. You've never met Fred before because you're kind of new to ASC. But Fred, if you have you been listening to the show already previous today? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm assuming. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. You got a little lag going on there, Vic. Be a little bit sharper, will you please? Step up, Vic. Roger that.
I'll do my best.
Roger that. Give me a roger that. Good.
Roger that.
All right, come on. I'm going to run it like DTS right now. Let's go. Step up, man. Say hi to Fred.
How you doing, sir? It's a pleasure.
Good to meet you, Victor. I'm doing well. Hope you're doing well also.
Is it his mic, bro?
The delay.
I'm
Hey.
trying to. What's up?
Try to stay close to your mic, wherever it is on your.
Yeah, it's my computer mic. I'm not like rich enough to afford.
Put your
bigger
face
mics.
in the computer mic, Vic.
Okay, how's that?
That's much better. Keep your face right there.
I'm practically shouting into it, but okay.
No.
You look great. The wall looks great behind you.
Yeah.
You're fine.
It's all good. So,
All right, let's get to it.
So Vic, I have a question for you. Is tell me your most memorable experience at Journey Camp that you just went to, and why is it your most memorable?
I've got a lot, honestly. I would say
one.
Okay, I would say most
longer
memorable
than I am. I love you, brother.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna say most memorable. Pretty much anytime there was a service. And like every time there would be a testimony from one of our PS23 mentors, throwing down a testimony, man, the response almost every time without fail was just one that really ignited a long-term burning fire to continue to support, mentor, and hopefully grow and learn myself as well, as a mentor, because I think that's an important part of the process that y'all are talking about with respect to how you move forward after Journey Camp, really.
What are your thoughts on that, Vic?
I would say the biggest thing that you typically lose is you don't quite have the same level of or intensity of accountability, but it is still something that, like, internally, you do tend to lean on brothers and sisters within the organization. I say that that's a pretty that's one of the best ways that I can think of to
Yeah.
kind of keep that fire lit, so to
Yeah.
speak, to remain in communication, have
Mhm.
strong accountability, and continue to grow also in terms of just your own biblical journey, kind of using your fellow mentors and any role models in your life maybe that aren't ASC, and kind of using them as a collective, um, I'd say, community for,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's an important piece, and it's. I'm not going to go too deep into this because it's actually our next podcast where it
Sure.
asks, "Am I a chameleon? Who am I?" We're going to really dive into all of that. Well, who am I? Why am I here? And self identity. All of that. Which is kind of a topic within our whole world right now. Redefining
Sure.
people.
It applies to everyone.
It applies to everyone. But I think one of the things we're going to talk about our next podcast in regards to that, the whole "Am I a chameleon?" is I think one of the hardest things kids face when they leave Journey Camp is, bang, they're right back in the same friend group that they had before Journey Camp. Whereas in Journey Camp, they made a whole new friend group. They made kids that kind of were paddling up the same river that they were, and now all of a sudden they're back, and maybe they hadn't been hanging out with the best, and will they get pulled back into the same traps that they were kind of going down prior? I personally think that's one of the hardest things for them is to identify um, uh, those in their lives that maybe are not going to be beneficial for them moving forward, identify them, and then have to wean themselves from those relationships. I had to. I mean, there's no question I had to in my life. Even still now, as an adult, I meet new people and I'm like, nah, not so much for my life. That's not the right guy for me. Yeah, I mean,
You have to.
yeah, you have to. So I think that's an important skill to be able to learn to do. What are your thoughts on that, Vic?
I would say, yeah, absolutely, because I think one of the things that Journey Camp really does, at least for me, is it made me take a good look, both internally and externally, kind of, saying, listen, what is the sum of my life? What is it? Where would I need to trust God more in my personal growth? What would God be asking me to sacrifice? And I'm pretty, I'd say I'm pretty hardy with most change, but like some people, or many people in this world, you get hit with a series of change. It can be very, you can feel very isolated away
Yeah,
from
that's coming from
ASC.
someone
And
with experience too, because you have been through
yeah,
a lot in your life.
yeah,
And
and
yeah,
and it can be hard because if we want to be like on par with the lift, the boost that we get when we go to Journey Camp, and then we don't anticipate to meet resistance, then we become in a place where we may be more tempted to fall back into pattern. But at the same time, if we kept our eyes open and we learned to recognize those tendencies in those people that we hung with, and became more aware of what we're to avoid, and really the consequence of
mhm.
continuing to be with those people, then I'd say Journey Camp, from a standpoint of quote unquote choosing your friends wisely, maybe that makes a huge difference to a lot of these kids.
Right.
You know,
Well, we're going to
Um,
change the podcast name, Vic. We're going to call it now Time with Vic, everybody. Spending time with Vic.
you make it sound like a children's story, my
No,
man.
you got a chunk full of wisdom, and I think a lot of it has to do with what you've had to overcome in your own life, and you're a strong man, and God has gifted us to have you come aboard and be a part of PS23. That is the truth. Hey, listen, I have Shay. Remember Shay? So you can say hi to her right now. Just say hi, Shay,
Shay.
because she's coming on next. So
Okay.
we're gonna thank you, Vic, for
Yes,
being on
sir.
board. Yes,
My
and
genuine pleasure, and it's been a pleasure meeting you, sir. I wish you all the very best.
Sir,
Sincerely.
Thank you, Vic. I
Sir
appreciate that.
Fred. That's Sir Fred to you. Roger that. He's awesome. This is what we would do at camp, him
Good
and I.
stuff.
So Shay, are you on board here, Shay? Can I say hello to Shay?
Hello.
Hey, ¿qué
Hey.
pasó?
¿Qué pasó?
Hey, listen, talk a little Spanish to my friend Fred. You say something
Hola.
to him.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
¿Cómo estás?
Bien, ¿y usted?
Muy bien, gracias.
Muy bien, gracias.
I'm going to try and teach Daryl the heavenly language.
Oh, yeah. I
Ah,
concur.
this is a little Hispanic buddy right here. So how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Where are you at right now?
I'm at my house.
Okay. Are you outside?
Cleaning. No, we're inside cleaning the Hispanic way.
Deep cleaning.
All the furniture's out type of deep cleaning.
That's my type of
That's for
cleaning.
real.
That's my type of cleaning, Shay.
That I appreciate that.
With my ADD, OCD,
Mm-hmm.
PhD. No, I don't have a PhD. That's a lie. I have no PhD. So have you been listening along the way here?
I have.
Yes. So I'm going to give you two questions. So the first one is, what was your takeaway from Journey Camp? Most memorable experience that just impacted your life? And well, I'm going to hold the second question. So can you answer the first?
What did I take away from Journey Camp? Well, Journey Camp was my first Journey Camp out of
I know.
all
First,
the past
yeah,
Journey Camps.
well, you and oh no, that's not true, because you went on skiing trip.
I went on that one. Yeah, that was my first. Yeah, off the
OTG
grid, and
ski.
then
Yeah, off the
and
grid
then that was just my
skiing.
first Journey Camp ever.
Yeah, but you went to DTS.
I did.
So
Yes.
you've been to 3 now.
3.
3, yeah. So what was your most memorable experience, time? You had some good ones too, because some are coming to my mind.
Yeah.
Some are coming to my mind.
So I think
Wasn't that
for
the best,
sure the last night during
Yeah.
worship and preaching, that was really good because I felt like it was just all of the days came together on that last day. You kind of saw, especially us that were on worship, like we saw everyone's faces. So we saw them on the first night, like, why are we here? I'm tired. I'm hungry. We saw all their faces, and throughout the night, you could see like this one trickled out quickly and was like, they just let go and let God. Those need a little bit more grace. But at the end of it, man, it was just so good. God really came through and just, he definitely, I think, fulfilled the vision that we had for this week, for that week.
Yeah, that they would have an encounter with their Creator, their Heavenly Father. There's no question. That was for those parents that are listening in, and that is our Journey Camp goal. That our children would have a God encounter, and 2023 they absolutely did. So here's the question for you, because I think this is a good one. Talk about to the kids how you do it, how personally you feel that they can come back home and dive into the word. How do they do that? How do they get the hunger for it as well? Speak to that, if you would.
I also went to a lot of camps as a kid, and like you guys were saying, the coming back to reality is really hard. 'Because we take you out of your world and put you in this little bubble where it's just you and God. And then when you come back into the world, the enemy's just like, okay, the same type of like full power God came after you, that's the same full power he's going to come after you as well,
That's right.
with distractions and all of these things. So I felt like I had to constantly put myself in the mentality that it wasn't just a high, like one of those camp highs that everybody talks about when they leave church. Camps, the first week is like, oh my God, I'm fighting for God. And then bam, it just goes away. I think I had to choose every day to love that encounter more than an encounter, but as a lifestyle.
I look at that.
And to choose it and to choose every day to love God more than worldly things, more than sin, whatever you want to call it. I had to every day decide to myself and say to myself, I love God more than this? And it was really hard. It's really hard to say that because people think that this life is, as a Christian, is easy. And of course, us as ASC kids, life is not easy. We have triggers, we have all these things, we have these moments in our lives where, it's really a test of your faith. But yeah, I think that like choosing every day as a decision, the same way that we ask the kids, do you accept and do you decide and do you choose to have Christ in your life, is the same way every single day. It's the same question you should ask yourself every single day. Do I choose Christ today more than anything else? I feel like that's just it's a really hard question, but I feel like it's very vital post camp life, I think.
And she's right, 100%, Shay. When you said, Satan's going to throw everything at you. What we know is truth from the Bible. Christ says in John 10:10 that the thief comes to kill, steal, and destroy. That's his plan. And then Christ says, no, but I come to give you life, and not just normal life, but life abundant. And he's there for us. So you're right. We have to choose him every day and not go with what's there, what's so easy, all the distraction and chaos that comes at us. That's great. Great point.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Fred. Fred is going off. What is it exactly? It's a study you're conducting. Yeah. Fred is conducting a study tonight with his church. He drove all the way out here to be here because I needed him because he's my expert matter event. What, Fred? Subject matter. Yeah.
Subject
matter expert. Thank you, Trent Dennison. Appreciate that, buddy. So thank you so much, dear. We missed you, by the way. We had a PS20 OTG in Texas. We just got back last week, and
I know.
it was airy. You got to come. You got to come to the next one. Actually, guess what? We've already decided. Guess what we're gonna do? We're doing another ski trip for OTG PS23 leaders, and we're gonna do something off. We have not done this before. We're actually gonna go into Utah, and we're gonna go into the caverns.
Ooh,
you know what those
sounds like a plan.
Have you ever seen like the photos of like people with their feet up against the clay rock, and then their backs are against it, and they're like shimmying up this?
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
And then you look up and you can see the light shooting down through the cavern. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
Well, hopefully I don't cry like again during the ski trip, but I'm on board.
Listen, we did the leap of faith, which literally you are jumping out to a trapeze bar at 200 feet high. It's scary as all, and then we rappelled down 400 feet, and I was the first to go. And I'm telling you, every ounce of me, I did not want to do it. I didn't want to do it. I was like, I don't want to do this. And I wound up doing it, and Fred and I would remember that we shared this with you guys, that we learned this at Camp Eagle. There are 3 types of fun. The number one fun is type 1 is like you go on a roller coaster, you go to a party. It's fun, but nothing really memorable. Mm-hmm. And then number 2 is when you're going through it, it's not so much fun. Not fun. Nope. Rather not. Thank you. But when you do it, afterwards, you're like pumped with adrenaline, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did that. And I had that experience. I definitely had a type 2 fun. The rappelling, because I've rappelled before, but this was literally straight down. And there was a point where there was nothing your feet were not touching the rock anymore. You were just shooting straight down. And it was pretty hairy. And then type three fun is, it wasn't fun then, and it's still not fun. Nothing memorable. It was not a good experience at all. I'd rather not have done that. God did not teach me anything during that experience. But
He went to the desert.
yeah, right. So Fred and I were talking beforehand, and we've come up, there is a type 4 fun. There's a type 4 fun, and it's camp fun.
Oh yeah.
It's camp fun. It was fun then. It's still fun now. That's camp fun. And it's so memorable. You know, I was sharing with Fred, I didn't go to camp until I was 50 years old. And it was me holding a camp for kids. And now I've done 270, as Soldiers Child Foundation has conducted 275 camps. So mamas, if you're listening to this, ASC moms, and you have not sent your child to one of our ASC camps, do it. It will change their lives. They will have a memorable experience that will impact the rest of their lives, and they will remember it. That's a guarantee. Amen to that?
Amen.
Amen. Well, thanks for joining us, Shay. We're going to be signing off. Until the next camp that we see you, thank you, dear. Yeah, roger that.
Roger that.
All right. Thank you. All right, everybody. That wraps up another podcast here at Soldier's Child. And it was called How to Live Out My Faith After Journey Camp. I think we did our best job to answer those questions. We hope it was helpful to you kids that are listening. We will, and those that are not, we're going to be sending this recording out to you. So we're going to follow up with more to go. Remember, we'll be back with our next podcast series. Am I Chameleon? Am I a chameleon? So what is that? The Geico guy? No, you're not. All right. Well, God bless y'all. Thank you for joining in. And this is All Things a Soldier's Child. Daryl Mackin. Thank you so much. We'll see you again. Thank you for listening to another episode of All Things a Soldier's Child. We sincerely hope you were inspired to live a life worth celebrating. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, and of course, leave us a 5-star review. Any questions, comments, or concern? Email Daryl at asoldierschild.org. That's DARYL at asoldierschild.org. A Soldier's Child, where we love the child, honor the fallen, and give hope to live out a courageous life.